As the leaves and weather start to change, harvest time brings an abundance of warming fall flavors. Our palates transition from the light summer flavors to these rich, warm spices such as cinnamon, nutmeg, cocoa, and walnuts, which pair well with nutrient-rich pumpkins. So today we are going to prepare pumpkin cookies. This episode is sponsored by Moulters Fresh Market. We are going to start out with giving some apple cider to get you in the mood.
Yay!
For the fall. It's nice and warm. It should not be hot.
And this is like our cinnamon stick?
Yes.
Or in Jared's idea, the cinnamon straw to drink your cider from.
It could work.
It does work.
It does work. It was really
Wow.
good. Yeah.
That's pretty good. The cinnamon straw.
Yeah.
So
It's a little bit loud though.
A little bit. It's a Slurpee straw.
So if you have kids on the side while you're preparing some cookies, that's a good way to keep them busy.
Are you saying something, Dana? It's like you get like the children, give them something to do.
Yeah, keep Big Dum Dum happy. Give him something to do.
With the pumpkin cookies, we are going to mix the wet ingredients. So I just did the egg.
Okay.
And the pumpkin is considered one of the wet ingredients. So it does add moisture to our meal. So we are using fresh pumpkin today. You can, if it's not in season, because we have a limited time for fresh, you can use canned pumpkin as well.
And if you were gonna use like a whole pumpkin.
I use the pressure cooker.
Oh, you smart genius. That's really easy.
You seed it and de-skin it. You need to make sure that you get your skin off. And I put chunks, pretty big chunks, and threw it in the pressure cooker, 12 minutes on high, and it's done. So if you want to make even baby food and freeze it for later use or can it for later use for making pumpkin cookies. So instead of vegetable oil, I used walnut oil. So this is great for cookies because it has almost that toasty sweet smell to it. And you could add walnuts to this recipe as well. We only used a half a cup, and one of the reasons was because of the pumpkin. So with the pumpkin, you lower that oil amount, which is huge. Because how many calories per tablespoon?
130 per tablespoon.
So if we cut out a half a cup,
That's a lot.
that's a lot of calories.
That's a lot.
And we replaced it with
Just
pumpkin,
pumpkin. Yeah.
which was low in calories. Instead of sugar, we are going to use maple syrup.
Okay.
If I use sugar, it would be 1 cup. Instead of 1 cup, I only used a half a cup. They still have the same amount of sugar per tablespoon, but it changes the recipe. So we used less.
Side to side, even comparison, but because like maple syrup or maybe like honey or like a sweeter flavor than just like regular sugar, we can use less.
Right. It is more of a natural choice. It is less processed. Pumpkins contain fiber with them. It helps slow down the absorption of sugar. So we see instead of a spike blood sugar, we see kind of this nice steady raise of energy. And then the dry ingredients, I added flour and baking powder. I have my spices, cinnamon, pumpkin pie spice, and then salt. So I'm adding a teaspoon of milk to the baking soda just to get it nice and mixed around so it'll mix in the batter better. Otherwise, you might get that clump of baking soda. I'm just going to combine them, and then I'll add in the baking soda. Having a cookie once in a while is okay. It can be part of a healthy diet, and you shouldn't feel guilty having a cookie occasionally.
Cookies make this noise when they're freshly baked and warm, and it sounds like somebody singing very sweetly songs of eat me, eat me.
One thing that I do, because like my husband and I, we love to bake, is we give a lot of it away.
Sharing is another way where you can have 1 or 2, and if you struggle with the moderation and it's going to be a temptation, hand them away. One scooper is perfect. This is a batter that is a little bit more moist, as you could see
Okay,
when
yep,
I
so
was
it's a little
making
bit runnier.
Right. But they will rise, and they are more of a cake-like mixture.
I think I'll judge it by how it tastes.
Right.
Like making efforts towards baking a healthier cookie already changes the mentality. Because it's like you bake like regular cookies, you've basically resigned yourself to sitting on the couch and eating cookies until you pass out. This is a slightly healthier cookie. Maybe I say no to one of them.
Or it could go the other way too, because it could justify, say, well, this is a healthy cookie, so I can eat more.
Yeah, I suppose.
It is still a cookie. It is still important to have moderation. We can make it healthy. Instead of the regular chocolate chips, if you noticed, I used mini chocolate chips. So it distributes that flavor and the sugar a little bit more. Or you could forego the chocolate chips completely and go to maybe a walnut. So then you add more fiber and more nutrients there. Now it's time to get them in the oven. So we have our cookies.
Yes.
All right, it would be my honor to let you have the first cookie.
Oh wow. Okay. That wasn't what I wanted.
That's what happens.
It's like a cakier texture, which you had said. It's really moist.
Yeah.
You can tell that it's not as sweet.
I actually kind of prefer not super duper sweet. So I really like that.
What do you think about adding walnuts? Would this be a recipe that you think walnuts would be good?
I would
would,
love walnuts.
definitely.
Yeah, but like the texture crunch change, I would really like that.
Yep. And actually, these are gluten-free, so I did use a gluten-free flour with them as well.
You
That was a
tricked me!
surprise. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know at all. Were you tricked? I was
Yeah.
tricked. My
No,
God.
I didn't know. I wouldn't
They're
have guessed.
delicious.
That's the challenge with people that are gluten-free. They have a really hard time enjoying the cookies, and they think they have to have a tasteless cookie, and everybody else gets the good cookies. So you can easily have the entire family eat the same dessert, and the integrity is really still there, and the flavor is still there. But I don't have to have a complete diet overhaul to increase my nutrition and decrease my calories and get into balance. You can have these little tweaks of what you eat on a daily basis. Like one of the reasons we did nachos and
Yeah.
some of the other foods that we've done,
Right.
because we just see how do we increase the nutrition and decrease the calories for more of a balance. When preparing your family favorite sweet treats, include fruit, anti-inflammatory spices such as cinnamon, nutmeg to boost the nutritional value. And remember, for best health, moderation is important for any foods with added sugar. Join us next episode of FlavorWise, where we will prepare a meal with Thanksgiving leftovers. Thank you for joining us with FlavorWise, encouraging you to choose flavor and live empowered.